No. The real Rashida came in. That's
All right.
Transpired.
You better.
I'm ready to go.
I'm gonna tell you said that. I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, Willie going good these days, so we gonna let him go.
All right, good morning. We will call our June 26, 2025 board meeting to order. This public meeting of the Philadelphia Board of Pensions and Retirement is being conducted in person in the board's conference room at the board's offices on the 16th floor of Superintendent Center. Pursuant to the section 21-1503 of the Philadelphia Code, electronic recordings of this meeting will be made through Microsoft Teams conference technology and through an audio recording. An electronic recording will be made available to the public online or the website without charge within 10 days. Please note that you consent to such recording by attending, participating, or speaking at such meeting. Our first order of business is to adopt our rules that the board has approved and used for in-person public meetings that are recorded. The purpose is to ensure that an accurate and complete audio and audiovisual recording occurs to comply with the code requirements. A motion was made and properly seconded to adopt those procedures. Any discussion? Hearing none, move to the roll. Brian.
I approve.
Francois. Marcia.
Approve.
Tara. Paul.
Approve.
Andrea. Approve. Willie.
Approve.
And Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 2, a motion to approve our minutes from the May meeting was made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Brian.
I approve.
Francois.
Abstain.
Marcia.
Approve.
Kara.
Approve.
Andrea. Willie.
Approve.
Carol. Motion carries 7-0 with 1 abstention noted. Item 3, a motion to approve the consideration of 118 pension applications of 57 withdrawal applications made. Seconded. Any discussions? Hearing none. Brian.
I approve.
Francois.
Approve.
Marcia.
Approve.
Sarah. Paul.
Approve.
Andrea. Willie.
Approve.
And Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us into section 4, in case 4A. Motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for William A. Russell was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4A? Brian.
I approve.
Francois.
Deny.
Marcia.
Deny.
Aaron. Paul.
Approve.
Andrea. Willie.
Approve.
And Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries 5-3. Case 4B, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Dolores Hilton is made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4B? Brian.
I approve.
Francois.
Deny.
Marcia.
Approved.
Sarah.
Approve.
Paul.
Approve.
Willie.
Approve.
And Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries 7-1. Case 4C, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Derek Story was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4C? Brian. Francois.
Deny.
Marcia.
Deny.
Sarah. Paul.
Deny.
Andrea. Willie.
Deny.
And Carol.
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 4D. Motion to approve service connected disability benefits for David Wilson Jr. is made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4D? Brian.
Deny.
Francois.
Deny.
Martha.
Deny.
Sarah. Paul.
Deny.
Andrea. Willie.
Deny.
And Carol.
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 4E. A motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Sean Gallagher was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4E? Brian.
I'll abstain.
Francois.
Deny.
Marcia.
Deny.
Tara. Paul.
Abstain.
Andrea. Willie.
Deny.
And Carol.
Denied.
Motion fails 0-6 with 2 abstentions noted. For F, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Edward Wozniak was made and properly seconded. Any questions on 4F? Brian.
Deny.
Francois.
Deny.
Marcia,
Denied.
Kara, Paul,
Denied.
Andrea, Billy.
Denied.
Denied.
Motion fails 0 to 8. 4G, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Robert Vaughn was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4G? Brian, Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Kara, Paul, Andrea, Willie,
Approved.
and Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries 5 to 3. Is 4H, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Thomas Farrell was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on H? Hearing none. Brian,
Approved.
Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Kara, Paul,
Approved.
Andrea, Willie,
Approved.
and Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries 5 to 3. 4I, motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Patrice Gathers was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on G? Brian?
He?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Sorry, 4I. Correct myself. Any discussion on I? Hearing none. Brian? Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea?
Denied.
Willie?
Denied.
Carol?
Denied.
Motion fails 0 to 8. Case 4J. A motion to approve service-connected disability benefits for Michael Jones made and properly seconded. Any discussion on J? Hearing none. Brian?
Denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Billy? And Carol? On I, or sorry, J.
Denied.
Bill 0 to 8. 4K, motion to approve service-connected disability benefits for Robert Boyd is made and properly seconded. Any discussion on K? Brian?
Denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Willie? And Carol.
Denied.
Motion fails 0 to 8. 4L, motion to approve service-connected disability benefits for Simone Wolfowski was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on case L? Brian?
Approved.
Francois? Marcia?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Approved.
Andrea? Willie?
Approved.
Carol?
Approved.
Motion carries 7 to 1. 4M, a motion to approve service-connected disability for Justin Montgomery was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4M? Brian?
Denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Kara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Willie?
Denied.
Carol?
Denied.
Fail 0 to 8. Motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Karen Nance was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4N? Brian?
Denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Kara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Billy?
Approved.
And Carol.
Approved.
The motion fails 2 to 6.
Oh, we on N, okay.
And
N. Oh, wait. Okay.
Carol, do we need to re-report your
Yes.
what's
It's a no. Four N is a no, I'm sorry.
the motion failed for 4N fails 1 to 7. 4O, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Daniel Parasol was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on case 4O? Brian?
Denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Willie? Carol?
Denied.
Motion fails 0 to 8. Case 4P. Motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Jessica Perez was made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Brian? Francois?
Deny.
Marcia?
Deny.
Sarah? Paul?
Approved.
Andrea? Approved. Willie? Carol? Motion carries 5-3. 4Q, motion to approve service connected disability benefits for Rex Rosigi was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4Q? Brian?
Deny.
Francois?
Deny.
Marcia?
Deny.
Tara? Paul?
Deny.
Andrea? Willie?
Deny.
Carol?
Deny.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 4R. Motion to approve the service connected disability for Robert Sellers was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4R? Brian?
Deny.
Francois?
Deny.
Marcia?
Deny.
Tara? Paul?
Deny.
Andrea? Willie? Motion fails 0-8. 4S. Motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for John Seymour was made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Brian? Francois?
Deny.
Marcia?
Okay.
Tara? Paul?
Approved.
Andrew? Approved. Willie?
Approved.
Carol?
Approved.
The motion carries 7-1. Case 14, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Joseph Cisco is made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 14? Brian?
Deny.
Swab?
Deny.
Marcia?
Deny.
Tara? Paul?
Deny.
Andrew? Willie? Carol?
Deny.
Motion fails 0-8. 4U, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Rhonda C. Smith, who made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Brian?
Approved.
Francois?
Deny.
Marcia?
Approved.
Tara? Paul?
Approved.
Andrea? Approved. Willie?
Approved.
And Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries 7-1. Case 4B. Motion to approve service connected disability benefits for James Thurman, made and properly seconded. Any discussion on the 4B? Brian?
Deny.
Francois? Marcia?
Deny.
Tara? Paul? Andrea? Willie?
Deny.
Carol?
Deny.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 4W, a motion to approve service connected disability benefits for Williams Thermal, made and properly seconded. Any discussion on W? None. Brian?
Approved.
Francois?
Deny.
Marshall?
Deny.
Tara? None. Paul?
Approved.
Willie?
Approved.
Carol?
Approved.
The vote was 4-4 as chair. I'll vote to deny and break the tie, so the motion failed 4-5. Case 4X, motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for John Vittermaris is made and properly seconded. Any discussion for 4X? Hearing none. Brian?
Approved.
Francois?
Deny.
Martha?
Deny.
Sarah? Paul?
Approved.
Andrea? Approved. Willie?
Approved.
And Carol?
Approved.
Motion carries 5-3. Case 4Y, motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for John Thompson was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4Y? Brian?
Approved.
Francois?
Deny.
Marcia?
Deny.
Tara? Paul?
Approved.
Andrea? Approved. Billy?
Approved.
Carol?
Approved.
Motion carries 5-3. Case 4Z, motion to approve service connected disability benefits for Edward Vasquez was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 4Z? Brian?
Deny.
Francois?
Deny.
Marcia?
Deny.
Tara? Paul?
Deny.
Andrea? Willie?
Deny.
Carol?
Deny.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 4AA, a motion to approve service connected disability for Andrea White is made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Any? Brian?
Denied.
Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Kara, Paul,
Denied.
Andrea, Billy,
Denied.
and Carol.
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 4BB, a motion to approve the service connected disability for Ms. K. Lehman was being properly seconded. Any discussion on this case?
I, motion to table this for 30 days to get some.
Sure. There's an alternative motion to table for double B for the case. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the alternative motion? Aye. Any opposed? The alternative motion to table for 30 days carries. Unanimously. Sorry, I'm trying to get through all the letters.
Oh, no, that's your fault. Yeah. Thank you.
That moves us to 4CC, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Karen Fowler, stated properly seconded. Any discussion on CC? Hearing none. Brian?
Yeah. CC denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marshall?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Billy?
Denied.
Carol?
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 4DD, a motion to approve service connected disability benefits for Sean Lawler was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on this case? Brian?
I approve.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Darren? Paul?
Approve.
Andrea? Approve. Willie?
Approve.
Carol?
Approved.
Motion carries 5-3. 4E, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Claude Simpkin, who's made and properly seconded. Any discussion on double E? Hearing none. Brian?
Aye.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Willie?
Denied.
Carol?
Denied.
Gail 0-8. 4F, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Wyatt Slocum, made and properly seconded. Any discussion on that? Brian?
Denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Willie? Carol?
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. 4GG, motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Joseph Waters was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on GG? Brian? Francois?
Denied.
Marcia? Tara? Paul?
Denied.
Willie?
Denied.
Carol?
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. 4H, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for David Willis was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on double H? Brian? Francois? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Willie?
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. And case 4II, motion to approve the service connecting disability benefits for Alan B. Weiss was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on double I? Brian?
Approved.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Approved.
Carol? Paul?
Approved.
Andrea? Approved. Willie?
Approved.
Carol?
Approved.
Motion carries 7-1. That brings us into old business and case 5A. Motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Lotus C. Hillborough was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5A? Brian?
Denied.
Francois?
Denied.
Marcia?
Denied.
Carol? Paul?
Denied.
Andrea? Willie?
Denied.
Carol?
Denied.
Fail 0-8. Case 5B, a motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for say Willis was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5B? Brian?
Approved.
Francois?
Approved.
Marcia?
Approved.
Carol? Paul?
Approved.
Andrea? Willie?
Approved.
And Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries unanimously. Case 5C, motion to approve the service connected disability benefits for Antoine Acosta was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5C? Brian,
Approved.
Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Sarah, Paul,
Approved.
Andrea, Willie,
Approved.
and Carol.
Approved.
The vote was 4-4. As chair, I will vote to break the tie, deny, and so the motion fails 4-5. It's 5D, the motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Jacqueline Conway was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5D? Brian,
Denied.
Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Sarah, Paul,
Denied.
Andrea, Willie, Carol.
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. Case 5E, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for April Holmes was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5E? Brian, Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Tara, Paul, Andrea, Willie, and Carol. Motion carries 5-3. Case 5F, a motion to approve the recommended pension disqualification regarding Manuel Santiago was made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on 5F?
I think if we could just have clarity on what we vote.
Sure, so to simplify the recommendation, it's a recommendation to approve the recommended pension disqualification.
As proposed by,
The law.
the law department.
Correct.
So an approval means going forward with the qualification.
Correct, so denying means not. Thanks for that clarification, Billy. Any other discussion or questions? So motion to approve the recommended disqualification was made and properly seconded. Yeah, hearing that discussion, we'll go to the roll. Brian,
Denied.
Francois,
Approved.
Marcia,
Approved.
Kara, Paul,
Denied.
Andrea. Willie
Denied.
and Carol.
Denied.
So the motion fails 3-5. 5G, motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Melvin Budd Jr. was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5G? Brian,
Approved.
Francois,
Approved.
Martin,
Approved.
Sarah, Paul,
Approved.
Andrea, Willie, Carol.
Approved.
Motion carries unanimously. And case 5H, motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Joseph A. Maddox was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5H? None. Brian,
Denied.
Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Sarah, Paul,
Denied.
Andrea, Willie,
Denied.
Carol.
Denied.
Motion fails 0-8. And 5I, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Teresa Williams was made and properly seconded. Any discussion on 5I? Brian,
Denied.
Francois,
Denied.
Marcia,
Denied.
Sarah, Paul,
Denied.
Andrea, Willie,
Denied.
Carol.
Denied.
Fails 0-8, and that brings us mercifully to business.
Welcome back, Jackie. Welcome back, Jackie.
It's just a couple of things. So the state audit is continuing. Their 3-year audit. The data collection state of now.
I had the, in fact, I had to go.
That audit services that we use, given some marketing material we received as a result of one of the educational conferences. We took a look at the material, it's not with that company, in fact, the company apparently used just comparison. And we get to a point, we made it to a point where we come to the board and recommend an RFP be to what's going to see the services available. Greater the issues right now, but it's always good to go. So, Carol, I appreciate that recommendation.
Oh,
Yeah. We've been working with OIT tech experts, not our normal OIT pension payroll folks, but the tech experts on developing some level of automation with the current level of technology that we have. That is independent of the, I think that we started coming to concerning modernizing the pension payroll. So the two different things going on simultaneously. We are still working in discussion stages of the possibility of bringing a tech expert / leader to lead the modernization project. We have a subcommittee here at the board, but we will keep you posted as we get to the next step. The trustee election is now, petitions are now live, as you may know. So any questions, please address to Josh. Concerning the hearing panels, I just want to thank everyone for their participation in that. It's been a great effort. I acknowledge you, my staff, in keeping the hearings moving, keeping the meetings so we can make a decision. So thank you, Matt. We appreciate it. That's everything. There are a couple of educational conferences. As you can see in the materials, there's the Korea Global Summit for some of our trustees and members in the past. That's July 16th and 18th. And then there's also the NC First Public Pension HR Summit, which is in September 24th to 26th, and that is located in Philadelphia. So we're looking for any interest to know.
Do we have an extra?
Sir, motion to
Asking for one of the trustees.
and also, yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say, Fran, the chief is giving one, in Philadelphia for HR.
That's because,
That's what you saw, okay.
September
We thought
24th,
that- Yeah,
24th and 26th, and it's in Philadelphia.
it's in Philadelphia, yeah,
Public Pension HR.
right, so I was just gonna recommend that, we maybe HR or whoever you want to take advantage of since it's local.
Yeah, no, Washington,
Yeah,
motion to approve those travel and seminars, that Fran referenced. He's made and properly seconded, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Any other new business before the board? That moves us to the litigation summary. Any items of note from law? No. Motion to adjourn the event portion was made and properly seconded. We'll move into deferred compensation. First item is approval of our May 2025 minutes. The motion is made. Thank you.
They haven't back there.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
In my seat.
you have to download and copy.
Okay, so moving to deferred comp, our first item is approval of May 2025 minutes. Motion was made and properly seconded. Christie and Brian. Christie. Francois.
That's all right.
Martha. Approved. Sarah. Approved. Paul. Lily. Carol. Carries unanimously and moves us into the Panic Committee.
Just wanted to mention the coordination, wanted to go see the numbers, so. Staff plans to revisit the electric investment trust. Options. With the law department doing our research, Josh has been going for, I just want to let folks know that we'll have to be at the table.
Okay.
Good morning. Just wanted to take a moment of just to introduce Matt Ring. As I think we all know, Brad's been on the office. And so he's going through his recovery. Matt is going to be stepping in to help out with the team and whatnot. And it's another resource, obviously, of being as myself, the entire my team that's based locally in the Lehigh Valley. And just overseeing and whatnot, Brad's absence. We've heard that, Brad's. But I want to get Matt to introduce himself too.
Yeah, good morning, I'm Matt Ring, as Jeff said, I've been with Nationwide since 2008. Currently lead our team in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. And happy to assist in any capacity that I can during my absence.
Will and our continuing regards to.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Good morning. Deferred compensation plan, May asset balance, ending asset balance was $2,139,235,506. That's 4% increase from the month of April. Plan participants which are active, terminated, or have left employment or stopped their contribution. Total count is 27,297 participants. That's 251 more than the month of April. Actively contributing is 20,598 participants. That's 124 more than the month of April. New enrollments, 292 new enrollments received in May. Year to date, it's almost 1,210. And when you compare it to 2024, it's almost 54% increase. So Brad and his team are doing a fantastic job with new enrollments. The 401(a) plan asset balance is $4,891,329. Again, a 4% increase from the month of April. There are 1,450 participants, 2 less than the month of April. Philadelphia Parking Authority total participant count is at 662 now. 5 new enrollments received in May. And then no changes in terms of Housing Development Corporation at 48 participants. When we look at the after-tax contributions, it's about 102.8 million with 9,373 participants. That's 263 more than the month of April, and the Roth utilization now is at 34%. Percentage contribution is around 3,296. We received 159 more participants in the month of May. Utilization is about 16% penetration there. The call volumes did drop in May due to holidays, vacation, etc., but it's 3,252 calls, which is about 245 less than the month of April. Online accounts continue to rise. It is now at 21,714. Participants have an online account. That's 80% of participants. One of the things that the city did was allow us to do a 3D interactive financial wellness experience, which has been up on the website since May. It's ending in June. I just wanted to highlight that as of last week, there were over 4,500 folks that engaged in the unique activity, the Retire You activity. We'll give you the final numbers, but when we look at compared to last year, there were only 1,900, and this year, without even the month closing, we're almost at 4,500. So it's really amazing that people are engaging with 3D interactive. Any questions for me?
Very quickly, on the website, I'm getting a lot of calls about this. When you first log on to your account, it gives you your chance of success. That the green bar that used to, I guess, be a lot higher for people, and now it's low. Did you make a change to that?
So there's a web refresh and people have to go in. It's a new My Income and Retirement Planner tool. It's a lot more comprehensive. So folks have to go into their account and put in information, like follow the blueprint. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really intensive, but it's really amazing because it gives you a chance of success when you include all your assets, outside assets, even planning for retirement and ensuring that you're keeping on track.
Perfect.
Yeah.
To Brian's question, none of the underlying assumptions, inflation or anything of those.
No, those are
Not changed.
not.
Is she green red?
Yes, 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 yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I encourage anyone that, you know, to engage with the Mind Tracking campaign. It's pretty fun to go in and look at all the information.
Question or we're gonna get Matt's information
Yes,
at some point.
yes,
And is Matt gonna fill in for, Brad when he did remember orientation, because he's gonna do.
Yeah, he does, someone does 33, it's
Yeah,
not always,
Brad.
yeah. And so Matt and Satine will be servicing the different department locations.
Christine always do mine.
Okay.
She always do three.
Christine?
Yeah, unless she's asking the Brad fill in, I don't know what happened.
33, it is the other gentleman, I think,
So,
Sean, I think he was the person doing
Yeah.
33.
Okay, all right.
I didn't realize, now I'm realizing how. So, okay, so you'll figure out.
Yeah.
Well, Sean's still in the picture, so.
Yeah, so,
Might have to be
yeah, I didn't know Sean was in the picture, so that's, no, it's fine. So, on another note, for non-uniform people, there's an issue coming up with them that they may not have to pay if they go on strike. So are we looking at a possible, not forgiveness, but what you probably, like if they have loans and stuff, how is it gonna impact on their contribution? Like if they have loan repayment, like, I guess forbearance, or I don't know if I'm using the right word, like I said. They'll do it. Okay, that's Marshall step to do it.
that's a good. It's a good question. And, thank you for that question. So in case the union does go on strike, if someone has a pending loan outstanding, there are about 5,900, a little more than that, outstanding loans currently. And if it impacts the union members for any reason, the way the plan is set up, they have almost a quarter before the loan would default, so almost 90
okay.
days. So there is it's been set up beautifully in that there's 90 days. So if, for example, if you default in the third quarter, the loan wouldn't default until the end of fourth quarter. So I think there is enough time, but should there be a longer strike?
And then they're gonna be nothing.
So
But if there is, we would work with you. Because currently it's payroll deduction.
Yeah, because that's, wait, I'm sorry, but I know
No,
it's
go
some
ahead.
person that's gonna be coming to.
Yes. Could you?
Well, I know me, so that's one of the questions they're gonna be asking, sure.
So is it possible, I don't know if it's possible, if you know by union affiliation, how many people have loans, say, in 33 and 47? Is that possible?
So that's a good question. We don't have the breakdown by union. However, if the city payroll can provide that, we can help identify, because the payroll deduction is coming out of, United Paycheck. So we don't have it broken down by
When
union.
the payroll is due, because they know according to the pension plan that they belong to.
You have, you have payroll numbers or something like that. We can work with some payroll.
Yeah.
Identify.
Okay.
Identify those.
I will follow up
If
and
that's-
find out what metrics we can partner with, one affiliate to help you identify.
Well, you have some identified
Yeah.
payroll numbers, something like that.
Absolutely.
That can-
But on the payroll, on their pension plan listed on their, the one kid that we identified.
Well, you
No,
want
no, not necessarily, I got you, I got you, I got you, I got you. I'll think about something else.
Right.
I'll look at the metrics and we'll follow up after the sport meeting.
33 and 47, and I'm from big.
Yeah, it's all in the same plan.
If there are no further questions, I will go over Brad's report of service activity. I'll do my best to cover on behalf of Brad. If there are any questions that I'm unable to answer, I will follow up. But regarding the May service activity, as you'll see from the report, Brad, Christina, Sean, and Don as well have done an amazing job in terms of site rotation. You'll see that in terms of group events and workshops, 30 in May. In terms of attendees, 1,006 attendees, and 12 new employee orientation with about 484 participants attend, the new hires attending. And of that, 42% enrolled into that
That's
conversation.
great. That's a huge improvement.
And really high numbers in terms of attendance at all other locations as well. But the CFP Don's webinars continue to have strong attendance. If you look at the attendance, almost 472 webinars attendees, that's 47% total. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
Let
you.
Brad know we wish him well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Motion to adjourn third time is made and probably seconded, and we will take a break for about 10 minutes before we move to.
That's right. Long-term, it's just
But we know how to get cheese. And I think, all right,
First item is approval of minutes from May 22nd. Your motion?
I'll make a motion.
okay, this is the investment side, don't worry about it. Somebody called me and said, Marcia's not here, I said, okay,
Oh.
the investment side, don't worry about
So,
What's so important about it?
it. Yeah, I mean, you know.
is there a second? Second. Thank you. Seconded, all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Marcia was a very important part of the meeting.
Very important part.
Now we're up to the annual shareholder review.
Morning. As Rob said, this is the annual shareholder and proxy report. We have Sergeant Warren, Brian Siegel, Marco. One thing I wanted to note, we see proxy recommendations in the back of her presentation. We recently received the red line, staff is reviewing it, assuming there's broad agreement from the board regarding what Maureen presents today, then we'll present a formal revision that next month.
Good, thank you.
Great. Well, good morning. Thanks everyone for having me in.
Good morning.
So I am Maureen O'Brien. I oversee our corporate governance, proxy voting and engagement practice at Siegel Marco. Every year, we send you a report that shows how we voted your proxy. So any separately managed equity accounts that you have, we're voting the proxies for those. So we give you an annual report that details every vote with why we voted the way we did. And then we also send you, this is in the materials, a corporate governance review for the year, which gives you highlights of regulatory changes, market developments, things happening in the space that we want you to be aware of. So I will touch on some of that in the presentation today. So for our agenda, I'm going to touch on regulatory developments. I'll raise the corporate engagement activity that we're handling together, and then review your proxy votes for 2024, and then the first part of 2025. So if we move to slide 3 of the presentation, proxy voting and consideration of issues like climate and diversity and human capital management are somewhat regulated by different agencies, so DOL, SEC. You are not an ERISA fund, but ERISA is seen as a guide. And so just to keep you abreast of what's happening at the DOL, we have seen shifts in how the DOL views ESG and proxy voting with different presidential administrations. The law is that proxy votes are plan assets, and trustees have a duty to make sure that those votes are being cast in the best interest of plan participants. ESG has never been forbidden in any of the rules that have been passed or any of the memos, but different administrations have taken a different tack. So during the first Trump administration, there were 2 rules passed. One gave a carve out for not voting. So it essentially said, if you're an ERISA fund, you can choose to always defer to what the company is recommending you do, or you can choose to only vote on issues. And that was seen as neutralizing investor voice in proxy voting. A second rule said it didn't forbid ESG investing, but it did say that if you want to consider ESG factors, you have to do more due diligence. You have to show, if you're looking at 2 products, that they're basically the same product, and ESG can be a differentiator. It's just created more hurdles to look at that information. Those rules were passed at the very end of the Trump administration. Biden came in and said they were going to enforce them, and then issued their own rule in 2022. The new rule did not create many new provisions. It essentially went back to where we were. The one new thing in that rule is that investment managers that are managing commingled funds have to consider their clients' views on their proxy votes. So before that, managers would just vote according to their policy and not to their underlying clients. The DOL gave 2 options for that. One is to vote in proportion to the amount of the fund that you own, which is very hard to do. The technology is coming along, but that's not an option that any investment manager is taking. The other option, which we're seeing, is that an investment manager or commingled fund will share their proxy voting policy with the board and ask for them to sign off on their policy. We do expect more changes to come. We haven't seen them yet. So for now, we're still operating under the 2022 rule. Moving on to page 5, just a reminder that that rule again says ESG, climate issues, human capital management, diversity, all of those factors are fine to consider. The rule is trustees have to prioritize risk and return. And as long as you're doing that, you can consider any factors that you deem material. The rule was challenged. It's now in its third appeal. The first 2 times the DOL prevailed. The third time it's pending right now. And the DOL has signaled that it's going to rescind this rule in a court filing. So that's another indicator that we expect changes to come. Moving on to slide 6, at the Securities and Exchange Commission, there was a rule that was finalized that would have required publicly traded companies to disclose lots of information about climate issues. That rule was challenged and the SEC has decided not to defend it. So that is not coming anytime soon. Also, the SEC was working on a new capital management rule, which would have required companies to report on lots of data around the workforce, and that is not going forward either. I think it's important to point that out because a lot of the shareholder proposals and shareholder advocacy that's going on is trying to get information on those 2 issues in particular. So because these rules are gone, we're likely to see more shareholder advocacy trying to get companies to disclose that information voluntarily. 2 bulletins were passed by the SEC in February. One made it harder to ask a company about broad societal impact. So the SEC regulates what you can ask for through a shareholder proposal. You have to be a qualified investor in terms of how long you've held the stock and how much you own. And then there's all kinds of issues that are not appropriate for shareholder proposals. So they upped the bar. For example, there are proposals asking companies to report on how they're respecting employees' rights to organize. And that used to be fair game. You could ask that of any company. And now the SEC has allowed companies to omit those proposals because they haven't proved the test of broad societal impact. Another change in February from the SEC is that investors that own 5% or more of a company, when they're talking to the company, so when they're engaging, talking about their governance or any other issues, if the subject of their discussion is connected to how that manager votes, they have to do a higher level of reporting. And investment managers in general don't want to do that. And so if you're a firm like BlackRock and you're talking to companies and you own 5%, if you're talking about CEO chair and you have a policy that you vote against the CEO also being the chair, that is now triggering that higher level of reporting, which means firms like BlackRock are sort of tamping down their engagement and not making it specific.
Maureen, have you seen in the past, a level of change in the effectiveness of the shareholders? I don't call them demands, but their requests. If the regulatory environment is either neutral or let's say it shifts and acts as a business companies to provide certain information through certain.
Absolutely. So if we look at an issue like diversity, for example, there was so much going on that companies were doing a lot on diversity, and now you're seeing that change. Same with climate. Once the rule was finalized and we were having conversations with companies, they knew that they were going to have to report their emissions, physical risks, all that information. And so they were okay to do it a little early before they were required. When that requirement goes away, the focus changes and
the shareholders to effectuate that change.
yes, yeah.
So are companies finding another way to get around that platform or DEI or diversity without mentioning that, or they're just eliminating the process altogether?
So if you go to slide 10, the NASDAQ had a rule that companies had to report diversity. You had to either have a level of diversity or report why you weren't. And Siegel Marco and also ISS and Glass Lewis, which are the dominant proxy advisors, we all have had policies that if you didn't meet a threshold on diversity, we were voting against the board. So all of that infrastructure, plus all the body of academic research that shows that diversity yields better decision-making and better performance, we saw lots of changes. Now, the NASDAQ rule has gone away. ISS is not considering DEI for board elections anymore. We continue to do it, but so is continue to do it. And if you look at slide 10, in 2024, 100% of the S&P 500 and 100 were reporting the diversity of their board, at least one metric: gender, race, LGBTQ, veteran status. Now that this pressure is weakening, you see in 2025 that slips almost a quarter. So
Is it actually not only weakening, but flipping to this pressure not to do it from federal government?
well, the executive orders that were passed on DEI included a provision to look into the private sector. We haven't seen from the federal government, we haven't seen the federal government going after any companies for DEI, but you are seeing individuals sue companies. You're seeing a rise in what we call anti-ESG activists. So at Tractor Supply, Harley Davidson, you see individual investors asking the company to slow their DEI programs. The companies have said, those two companies in particular, that they're not really changing anything. They're just not broadcasting it. One thing that we have seen change is a lot of companies participated in a survey from the Human Rights Campaign, which tracks LGBTQ employee wellness. And then companies were rated by the Human Rights Campaign. And a lot of companies have dropped out of the Human Rights Campaign. So their membership has shrunk. And that's one of the lists that was picked up by anti-DEI advocates.
So they can't even promote veterans either.
Well, that's one of the diversity measures that was reported as part of the diversity statistics. Yeah, so if a company is not reporting on their board diversity anymore, you're not going to see the veteran status or the other characteristics.
So let me ask you another question, and this isn't related to us, but it is. On the international stage, what do we see happening there compared to the US? And I guess long-term, the effects of the changes that we're making on the US marketplace compared to Europe?
Yeah, I mean, Europe is more, it just has much more required reporting from companies, from investment managers, from public pension funds. They're all required to be doing more on ESG generally. So that's always, that's been seen as where we're going for a lot of these issues. But I think that's changing. But
In Europe or here?
Here.
We're not going there.
yeah, I
obviously,
think
but-
it was, right. I think as Europe developed expectations on reporting on climate, for example,
Mhm.
you saw the US market looking at what they were doing, taking some of the ideas forward. And that seems to be breaking down a bit. Sure. So just touch on a couple other things market wise. If we look at slide 7, Siegel Marco does, we have a sustainability committee and evaluate the investment managers that we approve and recommend every year. And one of the things we ask about is ESG integration. And in our most recent survey, 81% of our investment managers are using ESG criteria. So I just say that because while this term has gotten very politicized, it's also standard practice to look at these factors as part of your risk profile for the companies in the portfolio.
How did that change from the survey we did before?
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Yeah.
So we will see, we're completing this survey, we'll do it again in the fall. So we'll see if we identify change there. This is pretty consistent with years prior. Slide 8, this is a chart showing the dominant proposals that we're seeing this season. That lowest light blue is the anti-ESG proposal, so I'll go into that when we're voting, but you can see there, that's that significant uptick there. Okay, just quickly on slide 11, I just think it's important to say out loud that our fiduciary for proxy voting. When we make decisions on proxy votes, we're always doing that with the interest of your plan participants and beneficiaries in mind. And part of the reason that we support shareholder proposals and file shareholder proposals on human capital, diversity, climate is because we think that more information leads to better decision making. So moving on to corporate engagement, we have one initiative this year on slide 14 at biotech. This is an engagement on executive pay. Most companies decide on CEO pay based on analysis of the peer group, and they target to the 50th or 75th percentile. If that peer group is always targeting the 75th percentile, that pay goes up every year. So we're seeing rising rates of executive pay and stagnation for pay in the workforce generally. So we're trying to get more information about companies. How do they pick that number? This is a company we selected because they have low shareholder support for their pay plan. Only 35% of shareholders voted in favor of their pay plan in 2024. So we're asking them to just tell us how you determine the magnitude of pay. A very simple act. So that will come out in October. All right, so now I'm going to go over your proxy voting. So we can start on slide 15. I have 2024 full year data, 2025 partial year, so the numbers are very different, and that's because it's not a year report. In 2024, we voted about 70,000 proposals on behalf of your fund. Every time a proposal comes through, the company recommends to vote for or against. So we are aligned with their recommendation in 2024, 56% of the time. And in 2025 year to date, that so far has been 64%. Moving on to slide 17, election of directors. This is the vote that is most common. In 2024, we had 17,000 of those votes. 2025 year up to the end of April, it's 3,000.
Why we vote against?
Yes, absolutely. So we vote against for several reasons. If a director sits on too many boards, we vote against. If the company takes an egregious action to minimize shareholder rights, we're going to vote against. If the performance drags the peer group on a 5-year basis by 20% or more, we're voting against the board. If a director doesn't show up to 75% of meetings, we vote against that director. If the board is less than 2/3 independent, so 6 to 7% independent, we're going to vote against we call insiders, people who are not independent. We have a diversity expectation. So if they do not meet our diversity expectation, we're voting against. And then proxy contest. So when an activist wants to get board seats, they make a case and we may support them or may not. In a typical election, if you have 10 seats, you have 10 nominees. But in a proxy contest, for those 10 seats, you might have 20 nominees. So in those cases, we could be winners. So just as an example, at CVS Health that we voted in 2024, they lacked our independence standard. And so we voted for their independent directors and against their insiders. In 2025, we saw a proxy contest in beer products. We thought that this is the active investor made a compelling case. So we supported 2 of their nominees in addition to several management nominees. Moving on to slide 19, ratify auditors. This is very straightforward for us. If the total fees of that total fee amount, if 20% or more is going to consulting, non-audit work, we're voting against, and that's just to avoid a conflict of interest. So we voted against 15% of those proposals in 2024, 22%.
Tell us a little bit how long the auditor's been there.
That's not part of our criteria. Some institutional investors do that. We had a roundtable with auditors many, many years ago. And their response to that step by investors was that often a principal that's working on an account, so if they work
That's
for
right.
Ernst & Young, if they're hired by a second accounting firm, they just move to that accounting firm. So we didn't think it was very helpful. Next, slide 21, advisory votes on executive compensation. This is something we got under the Dodd-Frank Act. Our evaluation is paid for performance against the peer group. So if the company is doing well, we're okay with the CEO being paid more than the peers, but not if it's the reverse. If that pay for performance analysis doesn't yield a clear vote yes or no, then we look at other criteria like their if they have stolen parachute when they retire, or if there's change of control, if they accelerate vesting, if they pay for the executive's taxes, all kinds of different perks and pieces of the pay program to help us determine. We also look at pay ratio, so that's the ratio of CEO pay to median worker. Okay, slide 23 and 24. These are the shareholder proposals. So these are the proposals that are put on the ballot by investors rather than the company. And we typically, if we like the idea, we're going to vote for it every time. So for example, there's a proposal on gender pay gap, asking the company to do an assessment to see if there's any kind of bias in the pay. And so when we see that, we're going to vote in favor of it. We have a number of votes against. In 2024, they fall under 3 areas. One is operations in high-risk countries, and this is one of those anti-ESG proposals that is asking the companies to not do business with China. That's a complicated issue, and we understand that there may be arguments in favor, but we don't think shareholder vote is the appropriate place to have that discussion. On environmental issues, there are proposals asking companies to restrict spending on climate change analysis. We voted against those. And then also proposals asking for an advisory vote on a climate action plan. So if we thought the climate action plan wasn't forthcoming enough with information and a way to allow us to vote, we'd also vote against those. In 2025, similar here in terms of if we see a proposal to adopt a majority vote standard rather than a supermajority vote standard, we're going to vote for that every time. We did vote against the proposals to restrict spending on climate related analysis. There was also a proposal at a handful of companies asking the companies to adopt a director resignation bylaw. We thought that was going too far, so we voted against that. Any questions on any of the voting?
I know the data security and privacy is that new?
Yes. Yeah, that's a new issue we're seeing. We're also seeing a lot of proposals on AI.
Yes, I was new.
Slide 25 is a list of the accounts we're voting. And then the last section is what Chris touched on, which is the proxy policy recommendation. We're recommending 4 on slide 27, which I think we'll be reviewed later. So any questions on any of that information?
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
The investment performance review.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning.
Strong month of May, 28% positive in line with the policy benchmark. As of the time of this report, 10 basis points behind the 9.1% fiscal year to date. Should have received,
That's kind of flip, right?
should have received, numbers late yesterday that are estimated through close of business Tuesday. That has the fund up 11.26%, about 75 basis points ahead of the benchmark. Year to date, 6.31%, essentially in line with the benchmark. And also strong numbers month to date, 1.7 versus 1.5%. So
numbers include private equity?
no, private equity is lagged anywhere from call it 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, when we get to the end of the year. I wouldn't expect, Lakeview or Haley, and I chime in if they disagree. I wouldn't expect to see a ton of movement in the private equity numbers. Just because there's been a slowing volume of transactions, particularly for some of the bigger funds. And some funds are waiting, to see if interest rates drop, because that might improve valuations or how much money they can sell for. So you might see a very slight uptick or a very, very slight drop, but I wouldn't expect a huge change. Just a few of the,
They probably could compete or something.
it's fine.
That's like the problem.
A lot of time, it'd be preferable if we didn't have that weekend for the last, because that gives 2 extra days to have, you know, correct. Just a few of the things that we're monitoring as we end the fiscal year, moving to the next one. Obviously, inflation continues to be a concern, along with whether interest rates will be lowered. Chairman Powell yesterday, I think, gave strong indications that he would prefer to stand pat, but there has started to be some dissent from some of the other Fed governors. And I think the data that came from this morning about numbers in the first quarter being 5s downward may strengthen the case for. So I think the July meeting still to be determined as to whether or not there's a rate cut. Obviously, what's supposed to happen with Iran in the Middle East, oil today looks like it's $74. It's down almost 11% now to about $65.50. Not what I think experts were. I think they're going into the exact opposite of what people were saying was going to happen. Doesn't mean it can't reverse quickly if something new flares up there. I think there's concern that perhaps this market rebound has come a little too quickly. And that the full impact is still worse from bags. Well, I mean, you still have the pending tariffs slated to go back into effect July 9th. And I think that may even happen maybe sooner. The president's toyed with the idea of sending out letters all over the world.
It's been there, but you can't.
Right.
I'm hoping that maybe happens after June. Home sales hit a 7-month low. Prices, I think buyers and sellers are still a major disconnect. That they have to do with interest rates, they have to do with other things. Student loan defaults and collections, some of you picking up, you could have about 5 million by September. And then lastly, you have the dollar sinking again today against the euro, and the sterling is up a little bit against the yen. A lot of that, I think, has to do with interest rate. I think folks think that interest rate cuts may come. Did gain last week when there was tension in the Middle East, but it quickly flipped back to largely dropping. Do you want to add anything on the market?
I would just echo a lot of disconnects. So the numbers are good. I would say heading into the fiscal year end, we had quite a few things, whether it's the private markets that would cushion a little bit of the blow. We have around 4% in cash, which would be helpful. The global allocation has also been helpful when we think about the US market selling off. So, we've been allocated, pretty nicely. I would say, once we reset into the new fiscal year, I think the discussions we've had regarding, downside protection, diversification, not taking huge bets in any direction. I think that those will be the themes that continue to kind of control the portfolio and how we look at the portfolio. But it is,
It's a preview of what we can say about asset allocation.
pretty much, yes. Pretty much. So that's really it from this end. I think the numbers are good, but we still want to be very cautious with our optimism in light of the resetting of global policy and truth social and the things that come out from the policy.
You're expecting the market to reset.
That logic would have us think all of that, but we would talk out the
We'll do
Nobel
a
Peace
couple months
Prize.
ago, too.
Yes, we'll talk out the Nobel Peace Prize. We might have, things are just very different and.
And it'll be right next to your dad.
Isn't this it?
Through the International Atomic Energy.
Oh, right.
That's, yeah,
Well, I always learning something new about you.
so.
Let's see, what?
that's what this-
So,
Yeah,
It wasn't me, so. nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
It skipped the dinner.
we have the RFP out there
Mm-hmm.
from the timing perspective.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, but if you look at some of the estimated numbers, it's, at least to me, it's interesting. I mean, I said the fund estimated up, over 11%, which isn't too far from the S&P or the Dow, right? It's pretty close given the
But never
application.
policy.
But what's interesting, at least to me, is that some of the minimum volatility strategies are actually up significantly. Which I know we've talked about, how global low vol is working. Is it working as intended? Is there a paradigm shift in some of the companies that were once defensive, perhaps not being? I think that's something, as staff starts to go through the numbers as a manager, we're really paying close attention to that. Any manager that we recommend, if they're active, right? If it's passive, that doesn't matter. But if they're active, that they're really doing what they should be doing, which is pushing to the downside.
Right. I would say the one thing that is undebatable in this environment versus COVID, the global financial crisis, is the addiction to low interest rates. Even if rates do come down, it doesn't appear that this administration will push rates down to zero. Just with the bill, we've not even spoken about the bill yet. So there's a lot on the horizon when we think about the economy. The beautiful bill, when we think about that, we think about the deficit. So there's a lot more to come in the macro picture.
It's a big deal.
Some of it's going to increase the deficit tremendously.
Yes.
Basically,
Or more.
right. And all of that should bode pretty well when we think about lower volatility, stronger companies, and less around momentum, basically.
As far as individual managers, we sat out this on a couple. We will do a full review in conjunction with Marquette next month on MZ, their underperformance. We also noted that Garcia had still has very good long-term numbers. They had a difficult month. Again, they tend to take a very specific position on duration as well as specific sectors.
There wasn't anything with inconsistent global margins.
No. And as I said, their long-term numbers are still good, but others weren't. But we will present the full memo on the Kensington.
Questions about performance?
Great. Okay, very much.
Spec lending, $179,810. May, it's under $692,000 year to date. Plus the $56 million mark since the program started. Reverse and local AUM combined, 58.2%. Reverse AUM 50.25. Philadelphia and surrounding counties 10.29%. We have the upcoming calendar with the reminder that August meeting will move to September 4th. Also note that the July 24th meeting, I believe, same day is called starting with CLE. So I don't know if there is a desire to change that date.
You know what the days are, it's really, the
24th and 25th.
Could we move it up to the 23rd?
I have you.
Can't speak for everyone.
That's what it's going to win.
Whatever you is gonna like.
Do you have to build, do you have to move carrying panels if it goes to one thing? Yes.
You can move it Thursday.
Yes.
Oh, right, we had to move here now.
Yeah, that's
So that's.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
I said that. I said that.
Not-
You go ahead. You-
With your words, but
Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, so what we gonna wait and see? If they do it?
that's what we're. No, it's a big change.
You can have the hair panels in that room since the people going to sit more or be here. That's what we're going to hear.
All right.
Yeah.
23rd.
That's the final picture.
We'll figure out.
Okay.
24,
That's one way to get them here.
since you guys can't have. So we'll figure out.
Yeah, so that's already be here. It's like- All right. So and then the August board meeting is August
September 4th. Done with that.
Yeah, they know August 4th.
1, 2, 3, 4. But then my hope for them to change.
So that'll be July 23rd.
Okay, so we go back to July 23rd. So then the 24th to the 23rd, right?
Yep.
You'll send something out. Great, thank you. Okay, I think that's just the calendar. Yeah. We're back to the private market. Search. That was good. And, we're ready for final. We'll do that.
Yeah, so consistent with the table votes and the board of instruction at the May investment committee. We went back an additional time to seek further best, last, and final offers from the 3 finalists. We gave them until June 16th to close the business, make new proposals. If they choose to do so. We provided the final numbers from all three consultants, Marquette, Veris, Eda. Marquette did not change their proposal, but remained the lowest at 320,000 annually or 1.6 million over the life of the contract. Veris dropped $50,000 to 350,000 annually or 1.75 million over the life of 5 year or over a 5 year term. And Eda dropped $36,000 to 459,000. That would total to 2.295 million.
And,
Any questions, comments? I didn't hear a motion.
so Marquette stayed where they were at.
Yeah.
They didn't drop any more
They
either.
were the lowest they could stay.
I just think they could have came down a little bit more. That's just my,
Where did they initially start? Did they go 320? I know this is a couple of rounds.
325. I think it was.
Make the motion to retain Marquette as the private.
Sounds second. We could probably second it over there. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions?
I think,
Abstained. Motion carries. New business? Old business? We're probably gonna do. Your turn. Thank you very much.
you have a new person,
Oh, do that.
make a motion for the business.
Yeah, but I think Carol wants us to introduce. Betty. Yeah, you want to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Vega. I'm here with Wilderness on Parental City Council.
Thank you.
What do you want for? What's your role?
I'm Senior Legislative Council. I used to be a club.
You're the council president's office.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Okay, so go into the full board. Is there a motion to accept recommendations made by the assessment committee?
I will make that motion.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll second it while they discuss.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Any new business, old business? We're about to have your turn. We adjourn. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Some point in July.
Light focus.
Yeah, that's right.
But all, sure. We kind of sold off to everybody, you know, when you kind of underline what you think of. I said, like, yeah, and we can hold it in the chain. But right now, that's tough people right now. Everything you're talking gets out more than. I think we're talking about this.
Good to see you. Thank you for having us.
Every other.
Great. Yeah, no, it's all there. Thank you.
Careful. But we're good. Dial back.
All good?
Next year.